At 7:12 p.m., the ceiling fan chops the kitchen light into slow-moving blades, and my father slides 2 envelopes across the table like we're finalizing a merger. The house smells like baked ziti and motor oil. He's been working on the mower again, or at least pretending to. My brother Tyler gets the fat envelope, policy cards, a glossy brochure with smiling people in a convertible, a rubber key fob stamped with State Line Mutual in cheerful blue. I get the thin one, an ACH authorization form with my routing number typed in the box he must have copied from the voided check I left in a folder when I was 22. Good news, Dad says, tapping the paperwork like a salesman closing a deal. I put Ty on the car insurance, and I put you on the payment, just for this term. We'll square up later. Square up later, Mom echoes, folding napkins into tidy triangles. Her wrists click softly. Jewelry, always something delicate and jangly when she's about to ask for something. It's only fair, honey. You're so good with money. Ty twirls the key fob on his finger. He's 22 with a half-grown beard and a grin that says rules are suggestions. Finally, liability feels like freedom, he jokes. Thanks, Pops. The paper in my hand is stark and mechanical. Draft date, the 15th of each month. Premium, $1,197.43 for 6 months, broken into 4 equal draws, plus a $292 youth driver surcharge. A line item I didn't know existed until right now. $460 for an at-fault crash last spring. Not at-fault surcharge removed, typed below it like the system has a sense of humor. Deductibles, $500 collision, $250 comprehensive. Policy number, 17-5793-CH. For the record, I say like I'm logging a field report. Am I on the policy? Dad smiles the way he does when someone asks him a question he thinks is beneath him. You don't need to be. We just need a responsible payer. You always say your family. This is how family works. Their code for, you'll pay, he'll benefit. Mom lays the napkin pyramid on my plate. Tyler needs a clean start. You're settled. You've always been so independent. Independent, their code for, you don't need us. I live 20 minutes away, I say, looking at the paper again, reading the numbers because numbers cannot look away. You have your own checking account. I nod at Dad's cuff where a thin smear of grease darkens the stitch. What's wrong with the one you used last time? Don't complicate it? Dad's voice stays in the pleasant range. It's simpler to draft from yours. I'll transfer you every month. And if you forget? He laughs, like I've said something childish. I don't forget. Tyler pockets the key fob. Seriously, you're the best, sis. I'll Venmo you gas money when I can. He's not cruel. He's just learned which way the house slopes, and he rolls with it. My own envelope is a single sheet with my name wrong at the top. Alexandria Martine. No Z at the end. Address. The place I moved out of last year. My new apartment number is in pen at the bottom in Mom's careful, tidy script. The ink has bled slightly into the paper fibers. Is the 6-month premium split evenly? I ask. Or am I paying for the whole household? Dad shifts, just enough to register if you know what to watch. It's the family policy. We're all on there. Well, Mom and me, and Tyler beat. You don't even live here. So I'm not insured by the thing I'm paying for. It's the same difference, Mom says. Different line items. Don't be legalistic. I set the paper on the table and feel the grain through my fingertips. Birch. Dad refinished the table the year I turned 13. That was the year Tyler got travel soccer and I learned how to pack sandwiches that didn't get soggy. On the counter is a white envelope addressed to me. I brought it from my car. The letter from the city. A promotion. Senior structural engineer. effective next month. The one I drove here to tell them about, practicing the sentence at red lights. The map in my mind had tonight slotted as the place I'd get to be proud of something. I slide the envelope back into my bag. I cannot lay my thing beside theirs and call it equal. Not tonight. We eat baked ziti, while Dad lists premium costs like weather. Inevitable. No one's fault. Mom slices the garlic bread with the careful, sawing motion she uses when she's about to carve up a day into tasks I will take on. Tyler tells a story about getting pulled over and being let off with a warning because the cop was chill. No one asks what's new at my office. The fan blades keep cutting time into even segments. Whoop, whoop, whoop. After dinner, Dad hands me a pen. Sign there. The 15th's in 3 days. I turn the paper so the light hits the microprint, the bank logo, the italicized, "By signing you agree." My chest stays calm. My breathing stays steady. No? Dad pauses. The kitchen hums. The fridge clicks on. No? His voice has moved from pleasant to precarious. No, Dad. I put the pen down, cap aligned with the clip. I'm not authorizing an auto draft from my account for a policy I'm not on. If you want me to lend you money, text me the exact premium portion for Tyler, and I'll decide. But I'm not putting my account on file for the whole thing. You're making this difficult. Mom's napkin pyramid quivers. We're under a lot of stress. Your father's hours got cut. Tyler's just starting out. Don't make money the point. Money is always the point when it's mine. Their code for love is measured by the bills you agree to pay. Then pay it with yours, I say softly. I stand, not fast, not dramatic. I rinse my plate. I stack forks. I wipe a stray dot of sauce off the counter with a damp sponge. Small order in a big mess. I could argue. Present the spreadsheet of the last 5 years of "We'll square up," all the small drafts that never squared. I could say the line I practiced in the car. Senior structural engineer, Dad. Sanitation tower. 86,000 square feet. My team. I could force my good news into a room that doesn't make space for it. Instead, I set the damp sponge beside the sink and look at the clock. 8:03 p.m. I'm heading out. I have an early morning. Don't be selfish, Dad says. His voice lands like a wrench on tile. Selfish? They're code for, you remembered you have a self. In the driveway, the air smells like cut grass and cooling engines. Tyler trots after me, the key fob blinking in his pocket. He'll be pissed all weekend, he says, smirking like it's a show. You know how he gets. I rest my hand on my car's roof, my paid-off Camry with the missing paint chip on the passenger door I never bother to fix. Yeah? I say. I know. Ty kicks a pebble. I mean, I'll try to send you something. Just don't be mad if it's not a lot, okay? That sounds hard, I say gently, and watch the words settle for a beat. If you want, I'll help you make a budget next week. He blinks at the kindness he didn't earn. Yeah. Maybe he jogs back to the porch. Love you. Love you, I say. Love without respect is possession. The sentence isn't mine. It belongs to a stranger in my future, but it already fits. I drive home with the radio off. At 9:27 p.m., a text from Mom. Can you please reconsider? My blood pressure is through the roof, and I can't sleep when there's conflict. At 9:29, Dad. We'll discuss this properly tomorrow. At 9:31, Tyler. You the best. I put my phone face down on the counter. I open my laptop. I log into my checking account and change my password to something long and unreadable. I click a box that says, Enable alerts for new payees. A small act. New gravity. At 10:14 p.m., I take the letter from the city out of my bag. I slit the paper carefully. The word, congratulations, is bold. The paragraph about salary adjustments and a leadership stipend is compact and clean. I run my finger under the numbers like they're braille, a tangible raise for intangible hours I've put in that no one saw because they were not there to see me. I tape the letter inside my closet door. It greets me when I reach for my jacket. It will still be there when I need reminding. I sleep lightly, the way you do when you're changing a rule that's older than you are. At 2:41 a.m., my phone rings. Dad. I let it go. At 2:44, he calls again. At 2:47, again. I set the phone on Do Not Disturb and place it face down on the floor. At 6:05 a.m., I lace my running shoes. The morning tastes like penny metal and cold. I run 2 miles and let the breath shake loose a decade of yeses. At 7:12, I text Ray, the friend who was there the night freshman year when my parents forgot to call on my birthday because Tyler's bracket was on TV. The one who put a cupcake with a candle on the dorm stairwell and sang anyway. Got any coffee? I type. Her typing bubble appears right away. Always. Also, I start a beginner welding class tonight. Be my chaos buddy? Welding. I can almost feel the heat of it. Heat, pressure, filler rod. Hold still. Feed. Let it puddle, then move. A seam that holds. I'm in. At 7:23, my phone pings. A low balance alert I set when I moved out last year. It says simply, new payee added, State Line Mutual. Time stamped 3:10 a.m. I close my eyes for a full breath, then another. The alert was instantaneous. The drafts won't start until the 15th. There's a number at the bottom. Is this you? Reply stop, I reply stop. My phone rings at 7:25. An unknown number with the insurer's prefix. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, the text, payee removed. If this wasn't you, call. I exhale, the quiet kind of victory no one claps for. At 7:27, Dad texts, we took care of it. You're welcome. Their code for, we tried to take care of it. You caught us. I pour coffee into Ray's chipped mug I borrowed months ago, and the steam fogs my glasses. I'm not angry. I am awake. At 6:02 p.m., the community college shop smells like steel and soap. Yellow helmets hang in a row. The protective glass makes everything look like a memory from the future. The instructor is a woman with a gray streak in her hair and a name that suits metal. Forge. No joke. First lesson, she says, tapping a gloved finger on a plate of mild steel. Heat goes where you feed it. Don't rush the bead. Don't starve the puddle. Time and patience make strength. Ray bumps me with her shoulder. It's basically therapy with sparks. I hold the torch. The flame threads the space between us. I learn to listen to the sound of good welds, a steady sizzle, like bacon being honest with you. I learn how to tack, tiny points to hold the world in place until you can commit. Later, we practice laying beads on scrap. Mine are ugly, but getting less ugly. Forge leans over my shoulder. Look at your pace. Nice and even. Don't try to draw a straight line. Watch the pool, not the path. On the drive home, my phone vibrates so much it sounds like a trapped fly. I ignore it. Love does not draft from your checking account. I hear the line in a voice that is not mine. Maybe it belongs to Forge, or to some older version of me. It fits as if I've known it a long time. At 9:08 p.m., I finally open the text flood. Dad, we're disappointed. Mom, my chest hurts. Please don't add to my stress. Tyler, can you spot me for a new tire? The shop won't release the car unless someone leaves a card. Mom again. If you're going to be difficult, at least be quiet about it in the family chat. I stare at the last one. It's a favorite move. Control the narrative, and if you can't, at least control the volume. I type and delete 3 versions of a reply. I try a fourth. I keep it short. I won't be on anyone's payments. If you need a loan, ask. If I say no, it's a no. I'm not discussing this by text. Then I mute the thread. The quiet in my apartment fills back in. In the morning, I meet with HR to sign my new role documents. The benefits spreadsheet calms me. Columns and apportionments. Math that obeys the rules it says it obeys. My boss, Greg, slides across a printout with the Richardson Crossway Project stamped at the top. "You earned this," he says, almost awkward about praise. In the parking garage, I run my fingers along the blueprint tube. Earned. It's not a word I learned at home. There, you get what you can get and justify it later. At lunch, Ray and I sit on the curb outside the food trucks and split a plastic clamshell of something spicy and perfect. "So what's your plan?" she asks between bites. Ray doesn't ask questions she can't carry with both hands. "Change my passwords," I say. "Alert the bank. Freeze credit. Remove every just-in-case access they have to my accounts. Keep proof of everything." "Receipts," she grins, knowing my love of literal ones. "And when they escalate?" she asks. "When, not if," I say. I lean back against the brick. I book a session with a therapist. Before the hurricane, not after. I text a number a colleague gave me. "Hi, doctor. Nayar. Referral from Elena in planning. Family boundary issues. Any openings?" The reply pings before we've thrown away our forks. "Tomorrow at 4. Back at the office, I run live loads through the model until the tower's atrium sings in balanced numbers. My headphone cord hums in secret with the math. At 3:56, I shut my laptop and drive to the clinic on Maple. The waiting room has a wall of ferns and a white noise machine that sounds like rain in another room. Dr. Nayar's office smells like lemon furniture polish and something faintly medicinal. Clean, but not clinical. She sits across from me in a gray chair that says, "Steady, but not cold." "Tell me the short version," she says after I tell her my name and sign forms that make my hand shake slightly less than I expect. "They put my brother on our car insurance," I say, surprising myself with how fast the sentence rushes out. "And me on the insurance payment." Her eyebrows don't lift. It's not a soap opera line to her. It's a shape she's seen before in other houses. "How did that feel?" "Predictable," I say. A laugh hiccups up. "Like the floor tilted the same way it always tilts." "And what did you do?" "I said no." I think I said it out loud. "That's new," she says. A statement, not a compliment. I nod. "New. We map the moves in my family like we're drawing a drainage plan. Where the water comes from, how it overflows, what it carries with it. Your father handles the accounts and facts," she says. "Your mother manages the tone and feelings. Veto power is disguised as concern. I'm worried about my blood pressure is a surprisingly effective policy tool," I say. "We should publish it as a white paper." She smiles. "Humor is a relief valve. Keep it. Just don't use it to bypass feeling." "What do I do with the feeling?" I ask. "Name it," she says. "Observe the body." "Where does it sit?" I scan the map from the inside. Tightness across my collarbones like a too-stiff safety harness. Heat behind my sternum. Hands steady, but ready. "Here," I say, hand to chest. "Good," she says. "And what's one small boundary you can hold this week?" "I won't be in the same room for a conversation where 3 people outnumber me," I say, startled by the clarity of the line. "No ambushes." She nods. "You decide the terms." When I leave, the sky has gone the color of unpolished steel. I sit in my car for 1 extra minute and breathe until the harness slackens. At 6:13 p.m., I'm back under the yellow helmets. Ford shows us how to join a corner. "Don't rush it," she says. If you pull too fast, you'll get a cold weld. It looks pretty until it fails under load. I lay 3 corners. The first is crooked, the second holds, the third is almost beautiful. Ray holds my piece up like a trophy. You're making a box, she says. A square, I correct. But it looks like a box if you squint. A container. A place to hold something safely. I don't know what yet, but I like the idea. That night, a voicemail from Dad. Saturday at 3. Family talk. Your Aunt Deb's place. Non-negotiable. His voice is practiced casual. The non-negotiable is the steel core. I text back exactly 1 sentence. I'm available Sunday at 2 in a neutral place with 1 witness of my choosing. I stare at the line until it stops trembling. He doesn't reply. Ray sends me a picture of her welded piece. 3 ugly beads and 1 clear one. Progress tax, she captions it. I text her back a picture of my closet door with the promotion letter taped inside. Caption, receipts. I sleep solid until 5:29 a.m., when Mom calls and lets it ring 8 times, then hangs up. I don't answer. The day warms. The weld beads smooths. The neutral place is the back room at Gino's Pizza on Halford. I like it because the checkered tablecloths are loud and the doors don't lock. I bring Ray. She orders a Coke, sets her phone on the table and says nothing, which is exactly what I need. At 2:05 p.m., my parents arrive. Mom in a cardigan that says she's trying. Dad in his jacket that says he's not. Tyler is 10 minutes late with his hair still wet from a shower. Thanks for meeting, I say. My heart ticks steady like an engine at idle. Ground rules. I'll talk, then you'll talk. No interrupting. If voices rise, we reschedule. Dad sits back like I've offered him a tiny folding chair. Fine, he says. I take out a folder, white, labeled in my handwriting, insurance, drafts. Inside are color printouts. The ACH authorization Dad slipped me, with the line he filled in for my account number highlighted. The bank alert screenshot with the timestamp. 3:10 a.m. New payee. State Line Mutual. Added by John Martine from device ending 62. The stop reply. The payee removed confirmation. Dates, times, names, numbers. I lay them out like blueprints. This is what happened, I say. Not, this is what you did. Not, this is how it felt. For now, facts. Dad's jaw ticks. You don't have to make it so dramatic. It happened at 3:10 in the morning, I say. It is dramatic. I slide out the second set. This is the last 2 years of drafts I covered just this once that never squared up. $92.71 here, $146 there, $348.20 in March last year for emergency tree removal that turned out to be a neighbor's offended hedge. Amounts aren't the point. Patterns are. I keep my voice low. I'm not a backup bank. If you ask me to lend you money, ask it. Name the amount. I'll answer yes or no like an adult, but nothing drafts from my account without my consent. Mom's voice trembles. A sad violin. How can you make this about money when Tyler's safety is at stake? A lapse could have ruined his life. Then you insure him, I say. Or Tyler insures himself. I'm not paying for coverage I don't receive. Ty looks at Ray as if she's the judge. I didn't know, he says, small. I believe you, I say. But you know now. Dad leans forward. Here's a compromise. We'll put you on the vehicle titles. You'll be on the policy. Done. And can I borrow the cars? I ask. Do I get a say in who drives them? Do I share in equity if you sell? He frowns. Don't be absurd. So it's not a compromise. It's optics. I slide him a sheet he didn't expect. His text from last year telling me not to overcomplicate Thanksgiving plans by arriving late because of a site inspection. The text where he calls my work nice in the tone that means hobby. It's the same move in another suit. Ray clears her throat. I'm here as a witness, she says, gentle steel. I care about them all. I care about Alex most because she asked me to today. That's my bias. But what I see is a lack of informed consent and a pattern of financial boundary crossing. Mom dabs her eyes. You don't understand our family. Families are just groups, Ray says. Groups with habits. I pull one more thing from my bag, a narrow binder. Tabs labeled college, car, holidays, insurance. I flip college open and slide across 2 scans. My loan statements totaling $62,884 the day I graduated. Tyler's 529 distribution sheet, paid out to a private art program and a semester abroad. Dad's breath catches. He didn't know I did this homework. We always knew you'd be okay, he says. It's not a defense, it's a confession. Being okay shouldn't cost extra, I say. We sit in the hum of Gino's cooler. The server drops water with lemon slices that look like small suns across the table. Tyler stares at his hands like he's reading news on them. Mom's tears find something real to cling to for once. Not theatrics, just a woman who built a life on a cooling bed of assumptions, realizing how much of it set wrong. What do you want? Dad asks finally, a note of surrender under the gravel. Boundaries, I say. 3. 1. Remove my information from all family accounts. Today. I'll wait while you do it. I slide him a small list of accounts I know and a space for ones I don't. 2. If you need money, ask. No access, no drafts. I may say yes, I may say no. Both answers are respect. 3. If we're going to repair anything, we go to family therapy. A real therapist, not Uncle Pete in the garage with a beer. And if we say no? He asks, testing the edges like a toe in cold water. Then we talk less, I say. Short conversations. Pleasant weather. Holidays that are drop-ins. 2 chairs at a small table. Not a mean story, just a smaller one. Mom presses a tissue to the corner of her eye. I can't handle therapy. People like us don't. We handle our own. People like us. They're code for we hide. Then we talk less. I repeat. Ty looks up. I'll go, he says. With you. Maybe I can learn how to not be like... He stops before naming the air. Thank you, I say. Dad exhales. He looks older by 8 minutes than he did when he sat down. I'll delete your info, he says. Right now. I watch him pull out his phone and remove the payee. He slides his card to the table and logs into the insurer's portal. He changes the payment method in a way that leaves a brief digital cent. Done, he says. I don't say thank you. This is not a favor. It's maintenance. He leans back. For a second, he looks like a man who loved engines for the purity of them before he learned how crowds obey a bark. I didn't think, he says, like someone discovering a missing pedal under his foot. You always do the grown-up thing. It's useful. You taught me to be useful, I say. I'm unlearning how to be used. We leave it there. Gino brings a plate of garlic knots we didn't order. Maybe someone in the kitchen heard the edge in our voices and decided carbs are diplomacy. We chew quiet. We split the bill evenly. There are no hugs in the parking lot. There is a nod, an incline. A layup to nothing. At 5:07 p.m., on my couch with my legs tucked under me, I open my bank app. I scroll through the last year of drafts and put little digital flags on every one that says family. At 5:28, I start a spreadsheet. Family loans, asked answered. It has 3 columns, date, request, outcome. I put 3 entries in. Saturday, tire hold, no. Saturday, cover premium, no. Sunday, therapy, yes. A week later, we sit in a waiting room that smells like old hymnals and coffee. The flyer says Family Systems, Relearning the House. The therapist, a woman in a navy sheath and sensible shoes, introduces herself as Dr. Walden. Dad shifts in his seat like the chair is disrespectful. Mom smiles brittle. "What brings you here?" Dr. Walden asks. I lean forward. "Roles," I say. "The ones we never agreed to but somehow pay for." The next hour is not pretty. That's not the point. The point is that it's said. Words that were code are translated. "You're so independent" becomes, "We relied on you because you worked." "We thought you were fine" becomes, "We assumed you'd keep carrying what we didn't want to." "Money shouldn't matter" translates to, "We like your money, but don't want the constraints that come with asking." In the third session, Dr. Walden asks us to write family rules from memory. Dad writes, "We stick together." Mom writes, "We don't burden others." Tyler writes, "Ask Alex." I write, "Don't make waves." We make a new list. We ask before we use. We accept no as an answer. We don't have conversations outnumbering one person. We make amends with specifics, not vibes. Between sessions, I weld. The box becomes a rectangle. 4 sides become 6. I add a lid that closes flush. Forge nods once, approval at its most generous. "What are you putting in it?" she asks. "Receipts," I say, and realize I'm not entirely kidding. At month's end, I get a Venmo request from Tyler. $31.27, gas to job interview. He could ask Dad. He asks me because he's always asked me. I tap it. I don't accept. I don't decline. I text instead. "Send me your budget by tonight, and I'll help you make one that gets you to next Friday." No money, just math. His reply is almost instant. "K." Then, "Thanks." I sleep through the night like I laid my own foundation. On a Saturday in late fall, sun brushes the edges of the welded box in my living room. It's not perfect. The bead wobbles in the third corner where my hand shook with too much coffee. The lid clicks shut with the satisfying thrift of a shut door in a house with straight lines. Inside the box, on a layer of felt Ray convinced me to glue down, sit the kinds of objects my heart trusts. A printed bank alert with a timestamp. A cut-up debit card with a notch missing from the corner. 3 small $2 bills someone once gave me for luck. The letter with congratulations in emboldened font, now slightly crinkled from being taped and untaped. At 11:03 a.m., I set the box on my shelf where the books about bridges lean on each other like friends who drove through rain to arrive at the same table. Tyler texts a photo of his pay stub. 41 hours at the warehouse. Not glamorous. Real. "Budget meeting later?" he texts. "Bring your numbers," I reply. "I'll bring pizza." At 1:20 p.m., Mom calls. I sit on my balcony and let the October air lay a cool hand on my neck before I answer. "Hi, honey," she says, and her voice has lost some sugar. It sounds more like something people drink to wake up. "We're having Thanksgiving here this year." Small, no pressure. "Bring Ray if you want." I trace the grain in the wooden arm of the chair with my thumb. "Thanks for the invitation," I say. "What would you like me to bring?" She waits for a beat, like the line has a toll. "Just yourself," she says, then corrects. "Salad. Bring salad." I can do salad. "Your father wants to say he's proud," she rushes, tripping over the last word like it's heavy. "Of the promotion. He's not with me, or he would say it himself." It's not a perfect sentence. It's a welded one. Heat and pressure making something hold that used to fail under load. "Thanks, Mom," I say. "I appreciate it." We don't talk about money. Not because it's dirty, because it's settled. In therapy the following week, Dr. Walden says, "How does repair feel?" Like a dull ache, I say. Like something knitting. It's not joy. It's not nothing. It's work. She nods. Not everything that heals becomes what it would have been. Some things become what they can be. I think of the box, the crooked bead, the lid that clicks right. If you were expecting a jewelry case, you'd call it ugly. If you needed a vault for small truths, you'd call it perfect. At 3:18 p.m., I carry 2 pizzas up to Tyler's second-floor walk-up. It smells like old carpet and new hope. He opens the door with a grin that looks like a man trying. He has a stack of receipts and a legal pad with numbers scratched in columns. "Okay," he says. "What's a sinking fund?" "A small bucket you fill slowly," I say, drawing 3 boxes on the page to show him. "So the thing you know is coming doesn't drown you when it arrives." He nods like I said magic, which of course I did. We budget. We cut his DoorDash habit in half. He texts his friend to say he can't cover the tab on Friday but can meet for coffee at the park. He sets an alert for the 10th, payday, to auto-move $25 into a tires battery line. At 5:04, he says, "Thanks, Alex." He looks like he wants to say more, but decides not to. That restraint is a gift. On Sunday, Ray and I walk through the salvage yard on 9th and Loma, where Forge buys offcuts and bent things. We pick pieces that fit in our arms. I find a length of flat bar with a curve bent into it like someone tried and then changed their mind. I like it. It looks like a decision. "What will you make?" Ray asks. "A bridge," I say, then laugh at myself. Some jokes write themselves. We weld in the shop with the radio turned low to a station that only plays old Sam Cooke. Sparks lift in little comets and die without burning holes in the dark. The bridge comes together in 3 welded arcs and 2 crosspieces. It's small enough to pick up, heavy enough to mean something. "Where will it go?" Ray asks when I cool it in the corner and wipe the soot off with a rag. "On the mantel," I say, then shake my head. "No, the entryway table, so I see it when I leave and when I come home. In November, I bring a salad to Thanksgiving and a folded piece of paper I don't give to anyone. It's the budget for my own December. The line that used to say, family emergencies, and now says friends, gifts I want to give. I roast sweet potatoes with smoked paprika. I make a dressing with lemon and tahini. Food you serve because you love, not because you owe. Dad carves the turkey without commentary. He clears his plate without monitoring mine. When he toasts, he says, "To learning." Late, but learning. He's not an orator. He's a man with grease in his hands and a willingness to pass the bread without pointing out who paid for it. Mom asks me how the tower is coming. I tell her about a wind load calculation that made me rewrite a spreadsheet. She nods like it's weather she never learned but can feel on her skin. After dessert, Tyler and I step out onto the porch. The air tastes like chimney soot and peppermint. He shoves his hands in his jacket pockets. "They're different," he says, like he doesn't trust the sentence. "They're learning," I say. "Me too." He nods. "Thanks for not paying for my tire." I raise an eyebrow. "If you had, I wouldn't have gone to that second interview. I would have slept." He kicks the step with the toe of his shoe. "I got the job. Weekdays. Benefits next year." "Did you put money in the sinking fund?" I ask. He grins. $25 on the 10th. Look at you rubbing off. At home, I set the welded bridge on the entryway table. The light from the street slants through and catches the scales in the bead. It throws a shadow that looks like a second bridge. 2 arches. One you can walk over, one you can't. Both real. I take the insurance ACH form out of my folder. I write VOID across it in Sharpie, the sound satisfying and a little rude. Then I slide it into the welded box under the felt, beside the letter that says congratulations and the $2 bills collecting meaning instead of dust. Dinner that night is simple. Pasta with tomatoes and garlic. Ray and I eat on the floor because the couch is covered with clean laundry I've decided to put away later. The radio plays Sam Cooke, like it's always been this hour. We talk about nothing urgent. At 9:44 p.m., a text buzzes. Mom, can you send the salad recipe? Dad actually wants seconds. I send it with measurements and steps because specifics are a love language no one taught us but we're learning. At 10:02 p.m., a Venmo pops up. Dad, $50, Thanksgiving share. The note says for salad plus extra chairs. It's not the money, it's the line. Make amends with specifics. I transfer it to savings, boundaries fund, the name I gave the bucket that pays for therapy, welding classes, and whatever else it takes to stay steady. The number grows by 50. Numbers are honest. They don't love you back. They don't lie either. Before bed, I stand in the doorway and look at the bridge in the box. The emblem object is not a punishment anymore. It's a proof. That summer I learned to weld. That fall I learned to say no. That winter I'll remember that love without respect is possession. That worth isn't measured by how quietly you carry what others drop at your feet. Worth is the weight you agree to hold. Worth is the seam you refuse to be. Worth is choosing what your money touches and what it doesn't. I turn off the lamp, and in the dark reflection of the window, the bridge looks bigger than it is. That's the trick of arcs. They make space under themselves that feels like promise. In the morning, I'll drink coffee from the mug with Ray's chip and walk out past the small bridge that is enough. I'll drive to a job I earned and sign off on a slab that will hold under load. I'll meet Tyler at the credit union to open his own savings account and watch him deposit $25 like it's a vote for his life. And when the next draft tries to find me in the night, it won't. There's a new path drawn, a new table set, a new rule signed not in blood or guilt, but in ink I bought myself. Love doesn't draft from your checking account. And family isn't who can add your number at 3:10 a.m. It's who learns not to. It's who asks and waits and hears no and stays. I sleep with the window cracked and the room smelling like cold air and clean metal. The bridge holds. The box holds. I hold.